Cases in court today on the fourth day prosecution had a turn to cross-examine third accused person Richard Jakpa in the ongoing ambulance procurement trial. The Attorney General Godfred Yeboah himself strategically today, in the middle of cross-examination by his deputy Alfred Yeboah, took over the cross-examination and confronted Richard Jakpa in the witness box. This is the first time, clear indication that Godfred Yeboah has turned down the advice given to him by the trial judge in the ongoing case. Now, the Attorney General's main focus had to do with the letter of credit, who authorized it, the authorization date, and also the contract between the government of Ghana and Big C. The focus of the Attorney General and prosecution for that matter is to make the case that Richard Jakpa benefited the most with regards to the contract, and also make the case that at the time Big C was contracted by Richard Jakpa to turn the sprinter buses into ambulances, Richard Jakpa, or Big C for that matter, did not have the authorization to do so. That was the crux of the Attorney General's cross-examination of Richard Jakpa. Another aspect had to do with Richard Jakpa's history within the military. If you recall, Richard Jakpa has made the case in open court that he was released honorably from the military. Now, today, the Attorney General sought to dispute that fact, to discredit that fact, by confronting Richard Jakpa with letters from the Ghana Armed Forces suggesting that Richard Jakpa was sacked from the military because of his conduct that did not meet the standard of the military and would not adhere to the benefit of Richard Jakpa himself and the Ghana Armed Forces. That letter, according to Richard Jakpa, is dubious and fraudulent.
In that letter that I have no idea about, they claim I consistently engage in fraudulent conduct. And when you use the word consistent, it means I didn't engage in fraudulent conduct once, several. Yet the military that I know would not countenance such a behavior once, even for it to become consistent, without charging you, trying you, whether by your commanding officer or appropriate superior authority or by a court martial. I've never even gone on an interview on it. I have no knowledge of all those, that such a letter had been written by 7 military officers in order to get me out of the military without my knowledge. I was never made known about that.
But why didn't you make it clear to the court when you were confronted with the document?
I was never given the opportunity. In fact, the Attorney General was so mischievous that he presented the document, asked me to read it per the court rules. I read it, and then after reading it, he jumped into a different area so that I wouldn't have the opportunity to dissect that letter and expose the mischief and the unfounded allegation and the secret diabolical letter that was written.
The opposition NDC has also been speaking on this matter with regards to today's cross-examination to say that they were surprised the Attorney General tried to make the point that an ISO document or certification suggests that it was the date a company has been given the incorporation or certificate of incorporation.
On the issues he himself has decided to pursue under cross-examination, which is about the terms of the contracts, the role of Jakpa and all that, he is displaying ignorance. This is an Attorney General who, you heard on that tape we released, was misconstruing a letter of credit as advance payment. Clear illiteracy. He thinks that a letter of credit that has clear condition precedence, it constitutes advance payment. Clear illiteracy. Today too, you heard him in open court suggesting that an ISO certification which is renewed annually and which is acquired by duly incorporated entities, organizations, companies for purposes of quality assurance. He was confusing an ISO certification with an incorporation documentation. He thinks that if you see an ISO certificate, it is a certificate of a registration of a company. This man is bankrupt in knowledge about the issues before the courts.
The spokesperson for the Attorney General, Wilberforce, also spoke to the media briefly and tried to clarify what the Attorney General meant when he made reference to the ISO document he referred to when he confronted Richard Jakpa in the witness box.
The ISO certification in respect of, so bringing it down for all of us to understand, is that whether or not Big C, for instance, had the license or the certification to upgrade vehicles into ambulances, from what I also heard in court, and I'm not going into the merits of the issue, but from what we all heard in court, the certification for same was granted in April 2015. Now, this means that Big C got the license or were registered.
That is what prosecution has presented, correct?
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. We presented the facts, and in that document, we all heard in court, and I'm sure you heard yourself in court, where the accused person read that the accused person originally registered in April 2015. So the ISO certification is abundantly clear, originally registered in April 2015. Now, this is important to note this date because this date is subsequent to when even the ambulances were procured in the country.
The case has been adjourned to next Tuesday, when prosecution will yet again have a go at Richard Jakpa in the witness box, by which time it is the estimation of the court that they might conclude their cross-examination of Richard Jakpa, and then the next person to be cross-examined would be Big C. From the court complex, Latif Idris reporting for Joy News.